Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to part 19 of the EVA pod build. Today we're actually going to do some of the outside detail work, so let's head over to the bench. So, the earmuffs are coming along pretty good. I got the red detail done on that detail part there, and the black in there. Did it on both. I luckily had a brand new brush with a really nice point that I could get in there and just brush that in. So it worked out good. There's the black detail on that one. I think that's all that's new on those. And then blackened all that out now, since those are in. Just been doing some detail stuff. Got the silver on that because I believe I saw a photo of the real set one when they're sitting inside the hangar, and that was actually a silver, I believe. So I went with doing the silver there and got the red detail in there. That was just what I did just recently. Just cleaned up the edges. Looks like I see a little bit more red. Using a craft acrylic so you can just... I painted that in by hand, so sometimes you'll bloop on the sides, which is okay because I'll go up and clean like the real sharp edges with just with a razor blade. Since this is the base coat is such a harder finish than the craft acrylic, I can just lightly just scrape away, and anything else you can just hit with a little water on a Q-tip since it's a craft water-based acrylic, and it cleans them up really nice. And we got to put the black decals on those two areas. It'll look great. I already showed you the silver there. I cleaned out the vinyl mask in there. Got to do a little bit of a touch up, so I might have to try an actual vinyl, sticker down in there, and then hit the inside with a little silver. And I think on top, I'm going to use my chrome pen and just put a little chrome ring on the outside. But I'll wait till we do all the last clear coats. Yeah, so pretty much on this guy, we got to get these ports, these exhaust vents black. I noticed that it comes with a decal for that black square here, but I'm also noticing on the real sets, and a lot of people's aren't, but I think on the blacks, on the actual movie photo, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look at more. It's hard to get some reference, but it looks like there's black in here. Like there's like a non-slip pad. So I'm gonna double check and see if I can find other references and see if it's there. If so, it doesn't look like it's the full pad. Looks like it's back in here where. Just where this launches out is all white, but the inside in there is black. So what I could do is just put a piece of tape, mask just that, and then paint that black. I would kind of like to do that. You would probably have some type of protection for the actual step, and so you don't slip. Last thing you want to do is slip and fall in space, especially if you got a suit on and you're trying to get into this thing. And of course, I think I showed you all the silver there. But also trying to get this door finished, because as soon as we get this door finished, we can put her in here. Got the black detail in there. Just pretty much did a mask, and then I found some vinyl strips that I had left over from the NX1 from Aztec Dummy, and just cut them short, small, like little rectangles, but they had the right width. And put them on there and marked off the little spots, and then hit it black, and it came out good. A little dust in there, and then did the bolts in the silver, and then we'll put the decals over top. But that's what I want to do on this next, is get some decals on here so I can get a clear on this. Well, I got some decals on the door started. Been waiting to get the decals on here. It looks so much nicer. But yeah. Yeah, so that's looking good. We got the caution explosive bolts symbol on there. We got most of them, the red squares around the actual bolts, except for the 4 outer ones because they have angles to them, so I figured I'd do those last. And we already have some set, so let's put these on real quick. They've been going on really, really nice, so I can't complain. Let's see here, so we do this right. These should be pretty easy because they kind of go with the curve of the door panel here. So that one's saying 64, so that's you. And that makes sense because the point, the way it's shaped, it'll fit better. The top ones are going to be a little weird because they don't really have, they still have this little angle, but no real rhyme or reason why. Oh, it went right into place real nice. And at least here I can use this panel line here to keep them kind of squared up. So that made it nice. This was difficult. I think I'm a hair lower than what they have here. It looks like they have the top of the red part here that says explosive bolts. It looks like they have kind of just below the red decal, where I'm more like my top of my red is kind of in the top of where the silver bolts are, the holes. But I'm okay with that because, you know, the way that pod sits, you know, and you're going to look at that, you're going to be kind of down at a ground level. And that makes it more if it was up a little higher, but yeah, that works. The weirdest one of these was this one here because you didn't really have much. You didn't have this edge. You know, at least these I had the edge to go by, so I kind of had to sit there and eye it and take a flat. You know, I just took my ruler and just kind of made it square there and made it look like it was even off of those bolts. Now these are going to be the opposite. I think this one was 63. And this one's 64. It's going to be 64 and then 63. It's going to be the opposite on the other side. I do try to get rid of those numbers if you can. I'm noticing a little bit of red color in my water, so there must be a little bit of bleed or something from the decal. Go. And just a little bit because that was kind of dry. Usually I put a little bit of water down first, but I forgot. That one might have went right in place. Yep. So pretty much the door is done except for putting a matte finish on it, clear finish. That's great. We eventually want to put a good matte finish on this, just to protect it from the, you know, opening and closing. So we're moving along here with the detail work. I got these ventilation exhaust ducts painted black. What I did is I did a gun steel and painted all, like, mainly the grills and the outer, you know, the outside of the in there, and then painted all up gun steel, and then just in between here, in between the grills, I hit it with a flat black. So that way it still looks dark, like most, it says just to do it all black, but I wanted a little more metallic kind of vibe to it. You know, I don't think So I went and did the gun steel, which is pretty much a black with a metallic in it. So then it makes it look more like that was a steel part that they had, a metal or some type of alloy part that they had in there. And it's just blackened from whatever that vent's out. What did they actually even say that is? It's some type of vent. It's nice to learn a little bit about what they're actually calling them. They're the same vents there. This, we're almost there. We just got the big window to do. The window frame here all has to get blacked. But got the detail parts here painted. I did a silver, and then I did the gun steel again, just in the center. They say black, but I think the gun steel just gives it a little bit of difference. And a little bit of a shine, like it's dark in there, but there's still metal in there. And I did the same thing with that piece of detail right there. And then these two rectangles, I just did a normal flat black, and of course I have the flat black in between the grills there before I put that piece in. So that's looking good. And of course we have all the silver parts done on all the parts. Went up here and actually on this camera housing, I had the silver on the outside. I did the gun steel on the inside. Since it is a camera, it would probably be dark. Most cameras I know are dark right where where the lenses are and the lights coming in. So I did it that way. It gives it a little difference. You look from there and the hole's dark, but it'll still have a little metallic to it. And then the outside is all silver. And then I'm gonna cap it with a chrome. Maybe that's on my pad, but that's what I've been finding. And to me, I like to try to make it more real world than anything, and I think they would have a traction pad there so they don't slip. And I figured, if you're stepping into this thing, you're probably going to have your foot in there, so at least that back there gives you some slip. I mean, I could do it. I'm still on the fence to should I just paint it black all the way out to there, and I found these on eBay. And these are the colors that are in the pod, and they're square buttons just like that are inside the pod. So I thought that'd be cool to, they say EG. I could probably get that to come off. A little solvent and probably pull that right off. Definitely lacquer thinner to pull it off. They light up when you press them too. They got LEDs in them. So this one I'll use, throw in a red one for our main power. Then I figured I'd have, probably do a layout like this one kind of out by itself. And then maybe do the 3 blues, and then do this one just one button away, because to mimic the stuff panels on the pod. Probably do something like seems like they'll do like whatever their spacing is, and if I put another one here in that space and do that, pull that away. They do a lot of stuff like that on the pods controls where something's half. There's even some that are just kind of like just slightly off. So I think the white one I'm going to do for the headlights, and then these are going to be the red interior lights, the display, and the buttons, and then our headlights. And this will be the main power. And even got more extras. So, they were cheap. From China, probably made in China, because we don't make anything over here anymore. But I'm rambling on. I'm going to keep on looking for things that I need to do as far as detail work, get as much as done, and then we can get this thing put together, and then we only have this one last seam to deal with. I'm hoping these don't cause me any issues. Like this didn't at all. This fit. You know, I did some dry fits, and even with the dry fit, it said "took." I'm like, well, there's nothing I have to do. I just glue it together and hold it together a little tight right there, and to make sure all that goes in. I didn't have to putty or anything. You know, especially where this is part of the bottom, but this here is not. So the way those meet, if you can't even tell. So I'm hoping that this will, and I think when I did a dry fit too, before I did, like I said, the only part I might have to touch up is there, because that's where the sprue, when they molded it, was attached, and it came out pretty clean, but there's two little boop boops. So probably there I'll have to give a little putty there, but that's nothing. And we got to get a hole there for our post and wire before we set the interior in. I'm going to definitely do all that. But yeah, getting excited. I'm going to have to touch up some of that red there for my hand, because I never cleared this. My hand is just wearing it away from me doing this. That's okay. I don't know how much any of that's going to be seen even from the inside. It would be you looking through this tiny window to see that. You won't see it from these angles. But I did want to make it red because you can see some of it. You got to be careful, especially when you're dealing with red and white. It'll start trying to make it pink. As it loosens it up, it starts spreading it. So you want to make sure you have a clean Q-tip to clean that off. How's this side look? And I do tilt at an angle. I don't have it like a 90 degrees. I kind of give it a little tilt so it doesn't dig in too much either. Just lightly scraping. I'll take this Q-tip and clean that up. There we go. It's much better. Not that it was bad, but check the top half. I think I was just going really light yesterday, because when I first started trying to clean some parts up, it was being stubborn. I think it was still a little too wet. There you go. Sweet. But again, like I said, I'm letting this go run a little too long. Yeah, we're right at 30 some minutes, so I'm going to have to edit some of this down. But yeah, there we go. So till next update, thanks for watching.